Welcome back to Action 2 News at 6. Active duty military, veterans, and Gold Star families all partnering up with professional songwriters to turn their stories about serving the USA into music.
Operation Storm prepares to make its return to Ashwaubenon for the third annual Salute to Green Bay event at the Epic Event Center. This Nashville-based nonprofit organization travels the U.S. in hopes of empowering those who served or family members to share stories and help connect people. This year, they're working with Green Bay locals to honor their service and their legacies from their families.
Our song catalog basically creates this bigger picture of military service and sacrifice, and so it's really incredible when you get down and you start looking at some of the songs, especially from perspectives you would have never heard otherwise.
Doors open at 5:30 tomorrow at the Epic Event Center in Ashwaubenon. Tickets are $35 a piece. A table of 10 is going to set you back $500.